everyone. We have the guy with the best hair in the business, and he's also president of KW. His name is Marc King. Here he is, everybody. Give him a round of applause.
Oh, stop it. No, everybody stay on. This is for you. I'm going to demo command right now.
Don't leave until Marc is done.
Oh, so sorry. Yeah, stay until I'm gone. No, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for that. It's interesting because a lot of times I get accused, Nick, of you're trying to sell MAPS coaching. You're trying to sell mortgage. You're trying to sell command. You're trying to sell us on something. I just want to put it out there. You will never meet anyone with less of a hidden agenda than myself. I'm pretty much a open shut book. I'm not that exciting. I'm not that inspirational. My foot and my mouth are the same size for a reason, but I do want to have a very high level conversation with all of us if we can today. And it's specifically around this business that we love and staying a fiduciary at the center of the transaction. So let's jump into this, and I'm happy to do any questions you have, but I kind of want to start off, Leslie, I want to go back to the foundational fundamentals that have not changed. And those are building a database, feed it every day, communicate with it in a systematic way, and then service all the leads that come your way. That's how I was taught. And by the way, you can't use the same word to make rhymes, apparently, but they did. And so I was taught how to build a real estate business with that simple thing in mind. And from the very beginning of my sales career, I knew I was in a race against time to build an amazing database, because I knew the bigger my database, the more money that I got to make and the bigger life I got to lead. So that was drilled into me at an early age in this business in my mid 20s. Because, I've been in the business about 10 years, Nick. 21 years, right? And so that was drilled into my brain. So now, So now what happens is all that's changed, team, is I used an at-a-glance. I know I sound so old. I'm not that old. But I used an at-a-glance calendar to build all of my appointments with, to build my database. And I would always add someone to my database. I had the whole trick of on the back of my business card. Y'all remember those business cards? I haven't had a business card in 10 years.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why if you're curious. But on the back of my business cards, I had 4 slots. And so every time I met someone, I had a pen and a business card, and I go, well, Nick, it's so nice to meet you. I want to make sure I am a world-class partner to you if you ever need my services. So do you mind sharing some of your contact information? I'd love to connect with you. Oh yeah, great. So your name is Nick. What's your last name, Nick? Baldwin. Cool. And what's the best way to contact? Oh, cool. Where do you live, Nick? Oh, I live in, okay, great, cool. Right. And that was just a conversation. But what I did is I went back to my team every day and said, put this in the database. Put this in the database. And back then, my team, we had this huge fight, and the fight was over top producer. And I had one person on my team who loved it and thought it was amazing. Another person said it didn't work. It was broken all the time. Another person got the spinning wheel of death all the time. And yet we had this huge fight over top producer. Sound familiar? Anyway, so the basis of my business was building an amazing database, having an awesome communication plan with it. We called it the 8x833 touch. If you're old like me, you remember what that was. And you can print money by having the right amount of people in your database and communicating with them the right way and A/B testing that communication. Then when you got leads, you had to be really good at what you did, because we're all in 2 businesses. One is whatever you do, and the other is lead generation. And so if you think about it that way, you can be the best brain surgeon in the world, but if I don't have any brains to operate on, I'm out of business. You and I are the same. So you have to have the thing you do, brain surgery, and the leads, brains to operate on. In our case, you have to be great at marketing, knowing the market, being the local economist of choice, selling houses, all those good things. And you have to have leads to sell houses with. It's fundamental business 101. We all get that. What's happened over the last decade or so is we've been in one giant Dave Chappelle skit. Did you know this? And what happens is the industry got so frothy, and we do it to ourselves. We got third-party lead aggregators. We got prop tech companies, and they're walking around in kind of a shady way, and they're going, hey, you want to buy a watch? You want to get some rev share? You want some stock? Right? I mean, it's just a weird, frothy thing. So the last class I taught in a market center was 2017, and the class was called Someone Has to Sell a Damn House. Now, that wasn't culturally approved, and I apologize, and I paid my fines for it. But what happens is we're all looking for the escape hatch from doing the one thing that actually builds amazing lives worth living. And that one thing is providing amazing service as a fiduciary, having a vested interest in the outcome for people who are largely, they're in their largest, most complex financial transaction of their life, and they're counting on you to protect them, not to sling and burn deals, right? So when you think about that, I go back to, I got some great data. I love sharing data. Nick, you ready for this? You're going to see t-shirts at family reunion. I want everyone to get one, but you only get one if you're part of the super secret club. And that super secret club, I know it's exclusive, and everyone on this call can be in the club. In fact, everyone in our company can be in the club. It's that exclusive or inclusive. And it's called the 201 Club. And you're going to see black t-shirts like we tend to do around here. I'm hoping for V-necks. That's my big change. It's going to say 201 Club on it. I'm part of the 201 Club, some kind of design like that. Here's why that matters. I want all of us to kind of level set on what's happening in the industry right now. I'm going to try and get through this as fast as I can. You have a 25 to 33% drop in units off the high of 21 to what we think 23 will end up being. So 2021 is 6.1 million houses in the industry. By the way, Keller Williams represents 1 out of every 5 transactions in the United States. You'll write that down, share that with your friends, use it to build your profit share with. 1 out of 5 transactions in the United States has a Keller Williams agent on one side or the other. So how you go, Keller Williams, is how the whole industry goes. So when you see Keller Williams down 18% in units, you know the whole industry's down that or more, and it happens to be 22% more, right? So what happens is there's going to be less units. If you study shift, you know law of equilibrium, the number of agents will mirror the amount of commission dollars available to be earned. And therefore, the 1.6 million agents are likely going to drop 200,000 to 400,000 people over the next 24 months. You and I are okay with that because we want professionals doing this. If I'm going to travel around the country, Nick, and be on panels and all that stuff and speak for our company and say, we are the company that believes in the fiduciary, then we actually have to live it. So if you're a part-time agent that just wants to sling houses, you don't care about your customers, you're probably not a fit for Keller Williams. Did he just say that? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Yep, see, I told you, foot, mouth. So let's go back to the 201 Club. Here's why that matters. For agents who have 201 people in their database, this is about building your database. This is fundamental, foundational 101 real estate. For those of us who have 201 people in our database in command on any kind of smart plan, which is your communication key, make $116,000 a year in commissions. When the units drop, what's going to happen is you are protected. You might do 100,000 next year, but you don't go to zero because you have the foundational. You have, think of it this way, you have a storefront that has inventory on the shelves. When you have people in your database, it's not the houses, it's not the listings, you have humans in your database because life still happens to humans. The people who are going to suffer the most are the people who don't have a database. They don't have a collection of names, phone numbers, emails, email address, and physical address. They don't have those 4 things. And so if you have 201 people, those 4 items, you have them on any kind of communication plan. And by the way, you can't just set it and forget it with the spam that we send out. You actually have to lean in and be a likable person, as it turns out. Dang it. So 116,000, we can solve for that. 90% of our units right now go to the top 10% of our agents. 90%. Many of you are benefiting from that. And that's okay. What that means though is we had 130,000 agents in our company last month not sell a house. Now, before you go, oh my gosh, that's true every October. That's the industry that we're in. But in the season that we're in, and think of it this way, it's about the season. And all we're asking you to do is pay attention to the clothing and the tools. So in the wintertime in Detroit, if you're from Detroit, give me a shout out. In the wintertime, if you're a Red Wings
Detroit
fan,
in the house.
Whoop. And so what happens is I promise you don't go outside in a t-shirt and a shorts unless you're Nick Baldwin. And if you do over time, that exposure is going to cause some pain and some drama and all those things. Conversely, if you're in Austin, Texas, in the summer, you're not going out with your big coat and your hood and your gloves and all that stuff. That would be silly, unless you're going snake hunting, which is a thing they do down here. So the reason I bring that up is you are leaving a season where for 14 years you're wearing shorts and a tank top and flip-flops, and you're going to be forced to layer on. And how the Gore-Tex in your jacket matters, the wool around your hoodie matters, the the lining and hand warmers inside your gloves matter. And all of that is provided to you for the cheapest amount in the entire industry. I have in my possession, I don't know, did Jason share with you this morning his magic code book? Anybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Would you all like one?
Yes.
Get
Yes.
to 201, get to 201 people in command and I'll give you one. See what I did there? That's
I
not
love
fair.
it.
Here's the
It's
thing.
totally fair.
We'll give you one anyway, but just play along with it. This is, you know what this is? Has anybody gone over this with you?
No.
This is the genius of working with Gary Keller and Jason Abrams, man. Look, I'm a sales guy. I love sales, but I love people. And I just want to be around people all the time. This is every way you can generate a lead, what it costs, every single site, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
You want to know what Real Geeks does and what it costs? You want to know what Sync, Chime, Boomtown, Command, Referral Exchange, Realtor.com, Rise, Opcity, Ojo. The list goes on for 3 pages. It's the most in-depth study of lead generation in our industry that touches a computer. That's the way I would describe it to you. It is fascinating. Let me just skip to the chase. Command is 1/5 the cost of the second cheapest thing on this entire 3-page list. So here's what I want us to understand. And this is, sometimes we get, Mark, you're trying to sell us on Command. You're trying to trick us. Here's the thing. I believe 5 years from now, there's going to be one company that exists that actually controls its own destiny. And that's going to be the company that doesn't go, and I apologize to any of our competitors. I said this from stage at Inman and offended some of our counterparts, and I'm sorry for it. I love all of them. They're all welcome to join Keller Williams. But what I said was, everybody is bailing out because it's really expensive to build tech. It's complicated to build tech, and all agents run their business a little bit differently. But here's what I do know. I am not going to sell out my company in this industry because it's hard to build tech. What we're going to do is we're going to lean in, double down, and we're going to do our best to make sure 5 years from now that we own and control our own data, that we don't have. Do you know there's a company on this list that I'm not allowed to talk about? This is the fun part. I'm not allowed to talk about, but in their disclosure, and they have a ton of agents on their platform, but do you know that you give up all your rights to marketing to everybody in your database when you join this thing? Nobody else does either. So, because nobody reads the disclaimer. That's never going to happen to you on Command. You have our word on that, and our word is the only thing that matters. We're not going to sell all your data to marketing companies, which is how every one of these companies is going to survive in the downturn. So, long story short, I didn't tell you what name, right? I didn't mess up. So,
But just
No.
there is proof in the pudding there, Mark.
That's a rhyme.
go ahead.
And I was going to say there is proof in the pudding there, Mark. It's in our tech right now. There is a database wipe button, and there are a lot of platforms out there that don't even have that.
Yep.
So we stand behind that description of what you just said of, you guys own your database. There's nobody else that does. And so if you're in a different CRM right now, read the fine print. Just a heads up.
That's the best way I can say it without getting myself in trouble. Because by the way, that company has attorneys that tell us if we talk about it, if we protect our agents by sharing that, we could be in trouble. So, you know me, I tend to avoid lawsuits as much as possible until we have to really take it in. But I'd love to open it up. Any questions? No, it's not EXP. I don't want to blame them, but I do want to share with you. Let me give you a great analogy. And something I experienced. Can I just share with you? This is going to be blasphemous. Get ready. You might. Oh, this is being recorded. Okay, it was nice working with all of you. So
We love blasphemous.
I was a super fan of Loop, not because I'm the most detail-oriented person or whatever, but I sign a lot of documents, a lot of legal documents, a lot of contracts, a lot of those things. And because I grew up on Loop as my e-signature, I love Loop. I know how to use it. I'm at a master's level degree of Loop. And many of you on this call know what I'm talking about. It's so easy. I know exactly how to get right. And then I hear we're thinking about moving to DocuSign. And by the way, I'm one of the people who gets to weigh in on the decision. And I asked the question, well, why would we do that? I go to DocuSign and it doesn't work for me the way I want it to. It's a little clunky. I struggle with it. It took me more time. I hate wasting time. And if I have to read an extra thing twice, I'm like, what in the world? So So I went through the pain, and it took me about 6 months of mumbling under my breath at DocuSign to truly learn how to use it. Now, the problem was me, not the actual product. So I want to, I love all of you, but here's the problem. The reason that we had to make the decision is Dotloop was purchased by a third-party aggregator that may or may not have your best interest as a real estate agent at heart, and not blaming anybody. And I'm happy for all companies to grow, and Zillow's done a great job building their business and all those things. But I'm going to go back to, and I appreciate our friends at Zillow, and I think they're helping a lot of people who otherwise don't want to lead generate or build a business or build a database. But at the end of the day, they're not creating more transactions, they're intercepting them. And so when you think about this from this perspective, and again, it's not blasphemous, our agents gave a lot of money to Zillow last year. You'd be shocked at how much money, and you'd be shocked at the cost per actual closing that we got out of that last year. But that's a different story for a different day. The reason this matters is I don't work at Zillow. Gary doesn't own Zillow. And until their price comes way down, that's not likely to happen, right? We can't protect people. This is, if any of you have kids, you know the struggles, because they just don't understand. I have a 15-year-old stepdaughter who is amazing and lovely and beautiful, and a giant challenge. I don't know if any of you have what I have. And by the way, I was a challenge at 15, as you can imagine, and they just don't understand why they can't stay out all night. They don't understand why alcohol is not allowed in our house. They don't understand why. It doesn't make sense to them, because their friend, they see something on TikTok and it makes more sense to them somewhere else. And it's just the values we've chosen to have at our household, right? So in a lot of cases, that agent coming in just doesn't understand why, or they're in it for a short term and they want to have a great year. They don't care about their career. They don't care about what happens to all other of the rest of us if the worst should happen down the road. So long story short, I believe going forward, you have 400,000 agents now that are powered by KV Core. And KV Core, that's what Remax just switched to. It's what EXP uses. It's what a lot of independent brands use. And I made the comment from stage, I hope KV Core never sells, because I actually think they have a good product. I think that they do a good job. I think that there's some pros and cons there. But the minute they sell to someone that doesn't have your interest at heart, we're in trouble, and it's a matter of time. You all realize we don't even own our own name. We used to own Realtor, the name, and we owned Realtor.com, and we sold out as an industry, and we privatized. You know who owns you right now? This is terrible. You know who owns Realtor.com? I think it's Rupert Murdoch, the guy that owns all the media companies.
Yeah,
that's who owns your title. We trademarked it and then sold it. And I don't know if y'all got a check. I did not get a check for Realtor.com. But the reason that matters is turn around and look at what's happened. And just as all the case study you need, what's the average referral fee from Realtor.com? Anybody know?
it was like 35% or something.
38% right now. So you've given up 38% of your commissions to a company that owns what you used to own. Now, none of you did it. It's not your fault, but that's what we're living in. So if you need any further evidence about this conversation, just look at that. So this is not a sales pitch for Command. I promise you 5 years from now, this is the only company that is going to make sure that we protect the fiduciary.
Love it, Mark. And the question in the chat that people are just yearning to know the answer to is, why don't you have business cards anymore?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Here's why. Number one, I want you to think about, there's a bunch of people in town for masterminds. And so I'll show you what I do with your business card. And I mean this lovingly. So Paul and I met last night. I love Paul Jameson. He's an awesome human being. If you know Paul, give him a shout out. He's a top agent in the Carolinas. He's got an amazing property management business, etc. He gave me his card. It's a really cool card. It's actually one of those thick cards.
Oh yeah.
It's awesome. So here's the thing though. This will sit in my drawer. I have him on my phone. This will sit in my drawer, and then my assistant will make me clean up, because I have to clean up every now and then. And the first thing I do is I'll throw Paul's card away. Not because I don't like Paul. I love Paul, but because I don't need his card. He's already on my phone. And he was in my phone before I got his card. So most people throw away your business card. So the reason I got rid of my business cards is that, number one, I don't want to be thrown away. I have self-esteem issues. Number two is this: I want to control what you think about me in the service industry. So here's what I did instead. And this started out, remember MySpace?
Yeah.
Yes.
So embarrassing. I had a whole business model. You think about the stupid, we should have a different conference on all the stupid things we've done as agents.
Oh, that's a
But
good idea.
I was
Stupid
building,
con.
I was stupid con. I was building a whole online reputation that I was convinced MySpace was going to be, what Facebook turned out to be. Of course, nobody knew Facebook was coming. And so very quickly I got off MySpace and I went to Facebook. But when I would meet someone as a sales agent, and they'd say, I'd say, do you have a card? Do I have a card? I would say, you know what if we became friends on Facebook? Because everybody was doing it. And so for two reasons. One is I got to know everything about you. You wouldn't tell me in person what about your kids, but man, on Facebook, I can find out everything I ever want to find. I could stalk you. I don't want to stalk you. But the reverse is also true. I can control my reputation online. I can have a strategy on Facebook so that you learn more about me from my social media page than you do from my business card, and more than my business card would ever show you. So I don't want to be thrown away. I want to control my online reputation, and I want to learn about you. So for those reasons, I stopped business cards altogether. Today, that's morphed into LinkedIn. And so the roles have morphed, but that's why those are the reasons. I don't know that it is the best thing for you to do. But for me, it was the right thing to do. I was the top agent in my board. I didn't want to keep passing out cards. I wanted to build a scalable business model.
True. I agree with that. I don't remember the last time I gave someone a business card. I go, just look me up on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah.
There you go.
For sure.
Mark, thank you so much.
Is that it?
Give Mark all the
Thank you,
hearts and
Mark.
likes and thumbs up in the chat. We know
Yeah.
that you're busy over there running KW. I mean, we all know that you're the one running it. Let's be serious. Let's be honest.
No, it's not.
So we appreciate you being here, man, taking 25 minutes out of your day. So thank you so much. I know everyone got massive value. And go
Love
join Mark's Facebook group. What's your Facebook group, Mark?
Oh yeah, Wealth Building 2.0. Let me 30 seconds on this. Get your finances right now, because here's what happens. Two agents are walking into the market right now. Agent A, Agent B. Agent A has passive income from profit share, real estate investments, growth stock mutual funds, whatever it is, and it covers their monthly bills. Agent B has, like the rest of us, all-time record debt in mortgage, in car loans, in student loans, and credit cards. Who do you think is going to make better business decisions over the next 24 months? Agent A all day. So begin with the end in mind. We're all in this business to have a life worth living. Let's go get that passive income. Love y'all. Appreciate you. Wealth Building 2.0, Facebook.
Thanks,
Someone
Mark.
just posted it in the chat. So go join. He does a live feed every Friday where you learn a whole bunch of cool stuff. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you, man. Okay.